Hello. Welcome back. It's the house. Yeah, if you've been following
Lucky
along,
number seven,
lucky
no
number.
doubt. I'm
I'm
sure
sure.
it's all going to turn around and become a heartfelt, happy ending where it all works out for everyone involved.
Well,
Yep.
I want you to keep that in the back of your mind when you're going. Because we have had some revelations. Uh, a brief synopsis of the story. We're stuck in this weird house, lost in time. We were
Oh,
this
yeah. Spoilers, I
Yeah,
guess, beyond this
spoilers now
point.
if you're coming
Big
in for the
time.
first time.
Coming into the conclusion of this game, as I had said.
Well, I don't know if I'd call this a conclusion yet. We've got a ways to
Or,
go.
well, sorry, into the final act, maybe. I don't
Yeah,
mean like the end. I meant like,
some stuff has been revealed that has been kind of
yeah, we're
hidden from
moving in
us.
toward, yeah, not in the beginning anymore.
Not in the beginning. So in the beginning, it was very much. I wouldn't call it horror, but horror adjacent. More like a mystery, and we're in this strange situation where we don't know who we are. Kind of this nebulous voice, first person kind of individual who wakes up in this house. It's all dark and everything. There's this maid that shows up, calls us master, tells us we've been the master all along. We just don't remember who we are. And she takes us on this journey to these various different rooms in the house, which lead to vignettes of the history of the house throughout the age. And we've seen, we went through like three different time periods, learned about the history of the house and the people that live there and the fate that befell them, all in the hopes of figuring out who we were. And throughout the stories we went through, there were some similar through lines, some things that kept showing up. One was the maid, the other was this white haired girl in the despite the logic telling you that these the maid and the white haired girl couldn't be in all these different time periods. Turns out they were. The maid is tied to the house, is seemingly immortal or at least ageless, and has been with the house for the whole time. And at the end of the third door, maid reveals to us that clearly we are the white. Oh, I'm sorry. We went to a final door, which we saw the first story of the house, which was set in the Middle Ages, like the 10,000 something, where there's
Yeah,
a
or 44 or
yeah
something.
something like the person in the house was and named Michelle. Michael kind of been back and forth on that. But
Right, my bad.
uh, but Michael is or Michelle lives there alone. Has this curse on him where anybody he touches dies. The white hair girl shows up, and despite it being a bit of a tragedy of a story, because at the end, while protecting her, he gets blood on her and dies, or he thinks she dies, so he sacrifices himself to kind of save her by killing off all the other and to hunt her down and think witch. And then the tragic twist of fate, she doesn't die, and then she wakes up and
Mhm.
the witch is like, "Hey, I can bring your love back, but we're basically gonna put you into a state of like you got to be reborn." It's like this cycle thing, and so that kind of explained to us how this white haired girl kept showing up in all the stories. And but despite it being kind of a tragic tale, it wasn't really a there was not a whole lot of hardship. It was very much the conversation between the relationship between Michael and the white haired girl was very wholesome for the most part. And when we get
No,
back
yeah, they seemed like they were just. Yeah, I mean, they could not be.
comparatively to the other stories of the white haired girl
Uh,
being treated like ass in the past three stories. But here,
yes, yeah, I was gonna say it's the least bad.
yeah, and
It
so
seems. I don't remember if I shouldn't be saying. I can't remember what would make me say that's not true, but he didn't suck as much as some of
it
the
didn't
other
suck as much.
options.
And then when we get back, the maid's like, so clearly, you are the white haired girl. Come back. And we've seen some things throughout our time in the mansion. Like, wait, this story doesn't seem right. Uh, Plot twist. Spoiler alert. Turns out we're not the white haired girl. The white haired girl never existed. Or 1000, whatever. We are, in fact, Michael or Michelle. And another twist of fate. The maid is this woman named Giselle, who we've had brief glimpses of, and had been telling us this story that she apparently concocted, thinking that we would believe it. I don't know
I
if
think it's what she thinks is
what she thinks
true.
is true. I
Or
think,
at least I get the impression that
yeah.
she does. I don't know. We don't necessarily know.
I don't know for certain, but we do know the witch clearly does exist because as we were trying to recover our own memories and reveal ourselves to Giselle, this voice, this nebulous voice, is like, "You don't want to do this. Hey, stop it! Whatever you do, it's not gonna work. Yada yada yada. You're gonna be terrible, horrible for you." So there is a witch, apparently, not Giselle. But anyway, the only way to save Giselle now is to go into the door of her heart, which is the fifth door, and that is where we're starting off tonight. So,
Okay.
I don't think we're gonna have the maid as a narrator this time around. I think the maid, as far as a narrator, is gone now. But yeah, let's learn the
That
truth.
checks out, I guess. She's now like a regular character.
Yeah,
And
let's.
yeah, that was like, it's interesting that they set her up. I guess that the witch sets her up to make you think she's the witch the whole time. It's kind of a good little con job
Well,
that the witch is, on here. It reminds me of an episode of Love, Death, and Robots. The
um,
stellar misdirect one. I don't know. I'm not going to be able to describe it effectively without giving the whole thing away. So I'll just leave.
all right. Well, let's go ahead and jump into it and discover the true story of what happened in the Middle Ages.
So I am also of the opinion that it's all a lie. Um, we just got all those stories were too like Shakespearean irony.
Shall see that comes.
Yeah, that's
You have you have
wanted
you
to get that shot call
yeah,
before
yeah.
we got
Well,
in too deep.
you have made a couple of observations. Like, will someone really say these certain words in a certain time period?
Yeah,
They
yeah.
could all be stories.
I
You
remember
don't
you
know.
pointing at that.
Uh,
Some of this is we're obviously it's memories. Memories weird, but it's interesting. It's a cool thing that's happening. I'll let you read, I guess.
nope. This is actually you. You're Giselle.
What am I? Oh God. Okay. Wait, Giselle's the maid. Ha! It is the maid still. All right, so that means I think I'm ditching the French voice, right? Is that
That's
what that means?
whatever
Or
you
do I
want her
do I
voice to
still
be
get-
there, Eric.
I guess that's my life choices that I get to make. So I'm gonna not do the one that sounds terrible. Uh, do the French? No. It's been several days since I left the capital, and I could still see it when I closed my eyes. The people lined up on the Grand Point, Grand Pont, I don't know, awaiting entry, eager to start a new life there, brimming with hope. It was a city where people were willing to pay high taxes to live in. Oh, people were willing. I can read, I swear. If you were a performer, you could get some of those costs shaved down a bit by putting those skills to use. The capital was harsh on those who wanted in and apathetic about all who left. It was composed of a powerful nobility and clergy, wealthy merchants and bankers, and a large population of poor. And it was a city I had called home for a long time. I didn't know much about where I was heading. It's getting foggy. Looks like it might rain. Maybe we should take a little break? You want to keep going? Right then. The coachman was frustratingly taciturn. Taciturn's a good word. He acted as though he'd gotten stuck transporting a prisoner. So that was hardly a stretch. From his point of view, I was nothing more than a criminal. Even the times he would acknowledge I had said anything, he made no effort to hide the scorn in his eyes, to pretend he didn't regret ever taking this job. And I would just fall silent again. It was gradually getting narrower. We had long since left the paved city roads behind, and were now traveling along a couple worn-down grooves in the forest. How did I end up here? Why was I being subjected to this? I was done thinking about it. I bet she is still being run out of town for being a witch. I think that's on brand. The more I thought about it, the less fair it seemed. The more I remembered, the worse it hurt. All I could do anymore was close my eyes and weather the storm. Deep within the dense woods, a mansion appeared before us, like the world fading into view after a dream. It didn't seem to be an especially large house, but it had obviously been constructed with a great deal of care, and it was, thankfully, not standing in ruins. This deep in the forest? The carriage came to a stop, and the coachman climbed down, signaling with his chin for me to get out. Thank you very much. You must be tired after such a long journey. This is the mansion I'm looking for, yes? But the driver didn't even acknowledge me, getting back onto the carriage and setting off into the forest. He seemed to want to get as far away from here as quickly as possible. He could have said something. Oh well. That was about all I could say, anyway. Oh well. I couldn't blame anyone for my being here or his wanting to get out. I should get going, I guess. Be the one being exiled to the fancy house? Taking a better look at it, the house's windows were, strangely enough, all shuttered. It was probably dark as pitch inside. Does no one live here? But if that's the case, then why was I? I placed my hand on the front door. Such a big door. What if I couldn't get in? I had no idea what else there was in the area. If the door didn't open, then I would die out here in the forest. Really? That's it? I guess I'll just die?
That's where the meme came from.
Nah. I I knew it was an old one, but damn. 1066. Wouldn't have guessed. I would break something and get in.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. No. I've come to accept much, but I was not ready to forfeit my life yet. There we go. Please open. It's not locked, I guess. That would concern me more. A boarded up house that's not locked feels like trouble. The door was heavy, and unless there's like a hurricane coming, I don't know. And though it seemed to protest my attempts to enter, it still opened much easier than I was expecting. I was worried over nothing. Looking in, I got the strangest impression that light was being swallowed up into the mansion's depths. This sounds a lot like the way haired girls like monologue goes.
I imagine it's
It's not
probably a lot of
exactly the same.
similarities. Yeah,
Yeah.
because it seems like she was still telling the story of how they met, but was I think she was replacing herself with this imaginary white haired girl.
Yeah, like that definitely, but I'm wondering what other characters need to be merged in some of the other stories, I guess. Yeah, like are the sister and the white-haired girl different characters in that one, in the first one, and like stuff like that. Anyway, sorry. Rather than going inside, it felt as though I was about to step outside the boundaries of this world. But yeah, and some of the phrasing that they've used for this stuff seems especially familiar, I guess. When I closed the door, it was so dark I couldn't even tell where I was walking. I wonder if the window's open. Though I managed to fumble my way over to a window, it was tightly shuttered, and the shutters caked in with rust. I was probably not getting it open without a fight. Darn, not a hint of light. Yeah, see, darn. I don't know when people started saying darn, but you brought it up again. Now I'm thinking about that. I couldn't even see my hand waving in front of my face. It felt as though the floor would fall out from under me and I would sink into eternal darkness if I didn't watch my step. Fighting back that fear, I slowly walked forward, tracing the wall with my hand. There was a door at the end of a long corridor. I pulled it open, and a wisp of bone-chilling air brushed past me. Oh, God. Refill on my coffee here. 1 second. Yes. Didn't dump it all over my keyboard. Look at me go. It was too dark to see anything, but I could feel something different present in this area than the rest of the house. Uneasiness gripped me. Hello? Is anyone there? Please don't tell me it's actually abandoned. Suppose I can't know without looking around a bit more. The voice simply disappeared into the void. No response. As I pushed forward through the freezing air, for a split second, I spotted a shimmer of light. Squinting my eyes, I was able to make out a large window. Unlike the others, it wasn't shuttered. What do we have here? Drapes. I see a little light beyond. My chances were slim, I imagined, but if there was even a slight possibility of getting some light in here, it was worth a shot. So I pulled open the drapes. Ah. Next moment, faint but colorful light shone down on me. It was a stained glass window. From beyond the glass, I could hear the subtle pitter-patter of rain. It had finally started, it seemed. The different colors of light blended into a milky white, dim but wondrous. It's so pretty. It looks like an angel? Why would someone cover this up? It's beautiful. A little more light, it'd be...
Or the
Suddenly, I heard a voice, and I could sense someone else in the room. The man's voice was emotionless, neither deep nor high. Before long, he came into view, illuminated by dull orange candlelight. Uh, um, I'm sorry for coming in uninvited, but I did announce myself. I think I said it last time, but it was about to be like, because as we all know, it's not trespassing if you say hello first.
yeah.
I'm pretty sure I actually said exactly that, so I'm an idiot. The man stood there, practically blending in with the darkness. He had been there. Had he been there the whole time? He was staring straight at me. His gaze wavered slightly, but not enough for me to read anything in it. Then again, I could hardly make out any detail at all under the light of a single candle. Is this, your mansion? Thank goodness. I was afraid it was deserted. It's usually easier to rob. I mean, no, not at all. I would be scared to death of staying in this dark mansion all by myself. I'm sorry. No ill will intended. But I do think it could do with some light. That way you could see where you were walking. And I'm sure this room would look splendid illuminated.
if you need light. If you are in need of money, furniture. Village not far from here. Trade it for food, then make your way to.
No longer able to freely return to the city. I got warrants. I cannot go back there. Please don't chase me out.
I see. And do you ask of me aware of how people refer to this mansion?
They say that a witch lives here.
Oh shit!
I think it's not just a witch, a cursed witch, but I don't
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
not merely a witch. Okay. That wasn't actually word shape. A cursed witch.
If you remain here, shall likely suffer your own.
You're worried for my well being? Witch or not, my mind is made up. I was sent to this cursed witch's mansion to atone for my transgressions back in the city. It didn't matter what lived here. I had no choice.
Which will strike you first? Curse.
You seem to be doing just fine. It's only a tale.
Which is real. Very much so. Not a legend nor a fairy tale. The witch. Me.
Dun dun dun. The witch's name was Morgana.
That's different.
Yeah.
Oh, is me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, good point. Good catch. That might be.
I think this is. Oh, I think we're switching perspective to Michael.
That's what I was just gonna say. I wonder if that's what that is. Yeah.
Yes, that was our first. It was nothing flowery. It was rather laced with vision. We knew nothing about it, and I had no interest where it all began, where my history with her. The woman had Jake open wide. They glimmered like shining stained glass window. She seemed to be at a loss for words. I wasn't lying, per se. The rumors said a witch lived in this house, and I was the only one who filled that. Thus, said rumors could be interpreted, talking about. After staring at me dumbfounded for a few moments, the woman suddenly burst into laughter.
Wow. Here I was thinking you were kind of scary, and it turns out you're actually quite funny.
But
Never would have guessed you were someone to tell such a ridiculous joke with a straight face. It's a
I wasn't.
solid deadpan. Seriously. You don't look at all like a witch. I mean, it's dark and I can't really see. But you seem to me like a rather handsome man.
The word witch, you be interpreted many different ways. The word witch had broader meaning than just a woman who practices magic. Any unholy person,
Man.
cursed powers, man or woman.
I think I get what you're trying to say, but my mental image of a witch is definitely more of a woman. So, you're not a witch. To tell you the truth, I didn't know who might be here, which had me rather scared. But I think I can make this work.
What do you.
It's a pleasure to meet you, Master. Sent here from your old home. I was an Abigail for your mother, but well, I might have made a little goof.
I froze them.
Goof.
Brought me to why even sending someone to bring me back, and not even sending someone to bring me back, just sending someone. What end? What purpose had they shipped an Abigail out to this mansion? What was my mother thinking? Is this just another one of her attempts to break my curse? What do you mean you made a little goof? My
You know, a
voice
whoopsie doodle.
my voice came out weak. I did my best not to let it show on my face.
It was a teeny tiny mistake. Nothing you need concern yourself with.
What did others?
It was actually your father who told me to come here. I never really spoke to your mother much.
Others sent? That made even less sense.
I feel like it makes a little more sense.
Would
Maybe
he?
I'm assuming.
Father even know? No, if he had known, I would have been. Who was this? What was her goal in asking?
Well, there you have it. I'll be here for a while. If you need me for anything, do not hesitate to ask. I'm confident I can handle most everyday tasks. Now, where should I begin? Oh, I know. Are you hungry, Master? Food? Food. I can't imagine you eat much, being as skinny as you are.
I turned my back on her. Fool man. No matter what her goal was, she'd have been sent from that. No way anything. No way I prayed she would hint, give up.
It's probably not the best play. Master?
So I kept ignoring her.
Pro play, but I don't. Master! Master!
I ignored.
Master!
I ignored her.
Master! What would you like for supper?
Nothing. But failed, spinning back and shouting.
Gotcha, nerd.
Her eyes went wide, gave a sheep. I glared at her while she fidgeted.
It's one of the most basic human needs, so if you're hungry, you should really eat.
Said I didn't want.
Must you ask? It's not a very polite thing to ask a lady, you know.
Huh?
I, you know, it was a long trip, and all I had to eat on the road was dried fruit. I felt like I was some kind of animal. So, what I'm trying to say is that I'm, not interested in making you dinner, but making us dinner. Because I'm hungry.
Not lightning it.
And would like some supper.
Is at the far end of the hall. There's food in the cellar. Help yourself.
Thank you so much. I honestly feel like I haven't eaten in days and I'm about to die of starvation. Oh, and I shouldn't need any help finding it. I plan on exploring the house anyway. It's rather exciting being in a new place.
Damn it. That did not go as planned. Oh well. You can do it. I'll have nothing to do with it.
Master, are you sure you don't?
No.
Master. Master.
What is it now?
Hi. My name is Giselle. It's a pleasure to meet you. I fucking nailed it. And your name, Master? Oh, Master, you.
I actually left the room that time, making my way back to my chambers. At some point, I would seriously have to chase her out. especially considering she had come from that house.
Oh
But
yeah, he's
regardless,
clearly on it.
I was not terribly fond of her.
I mean, not terribly fond, just like a little fond.
Perspective change.
Didn't really understand Michelle, but that was probably because we were essentially strangers. Having been sent to the mansion as reparation for my mistakes, I wasn't sure who I might find there, but I was tentatively convinced he wasn't a terrible person. He didn't do anything to me except stay away. Michelle spent most of his time in his chambers, which he had told me never to enter under any circumstances, so we rarely encountered one another in the halls. For that reason, I made an effort to be kind and cheerful on the sporadic occasions we did cross paths. I figured if I kept that up long enough, he would eventually warm up to me. And as new housemates, being able to enjoy our time together was obviously preferable to the alternative. If I did manage to break the ice, I hoped we'd be able to do some talking about the mansion, about him, about me. I just had to keep working at it. Michelle didn't need me to take care of him. He handled his own day to day needs and activities by himself, and in fact, he didn't ask me for anything. An aristocrat who had no use for his servant. I hadn't met anyone like him before. Right then, that meant all I could do was clean. I wasn't sure how his room looked, but the rest of the house was, quite frankly, an absolute disaster. The dust was so heavy it was obvious it hadn't been touched in years. Let's get started. It couldn't be healthy to live in these conditions, so I set out to clean each room in the house one by one. That said, it wasn't going to be an easy task. Not because I was bad at cleaning, in fact, I considered myself quite good at it, but because it was nearly impossible to find all the dust and grime that needed cleaning under the flickering light of a candle. I can't understand how anyone sane can live in this dark. What's wrong with him? Maybe he's actually a vampire. I mean, checks out. Oh, God. Wouldn't that be something? I can see it now. Him sneaking out every night to suck the blood of pretty girls. Priceless. This, yeah, that's very modern. Ack, that means I'm in trouble. Look at me. This one woman comedy show here. Yep. Yeah, like that's, I don't, that feels like relatively modern, quasi modern, modern adjacent. But I think they rolled here on a carriage, so maybe I'm wrong. If I am able, they said coachman. If I am able to get him to warm up to me, though, maybe that'll give me a little more room to make some changes, like opening some windows. No light and no fresh air? No, thank you. Anyway, I set the candlestick down, pulled over a chair to stand on, and started wiping down the shelf. The chair's legs seemed to be uneven as it wobbled slightly beneath me. So many books. I wonder, do they all belong to him? New parchment was expensive, so it was rather astonishing seeing that this many stacks of it all in one place. There were even some books with bulky, extravagantly decorated covers. He does come from an esteemed family. You were there. I'd spent enough time at his family's home. It was a constant battle of servants and guests, bustle, even. The exact opposite of what this mansion was like. Why had he left his home? What had he done to be sent all the way out here to this remote mansion with a less than savory reputation? Need to be careful not to overstep my bounds. I am a servant now. Servant. But once the thought had crossed my mind, I couldn't get it out. I'd always had a bad tendency to chase my curiosities as soon as they struck, pushing to scratch the itch no matter how much my actions annoyed others. I couldn't do that here, though. I was simply a servant, and if I got on Michelle's bad side, I risked getting thrown out. Wonder what kind of books he's got here. so I attempted to distract myself. I grabbed one of the books and attempted to pull it out. What? But the strings binding the parchment must have gotten tangled at the back. Whoa, whoa, whoa! Because the books on either side tilted back with it. Ah! And then the entire row came crashing down on top of me. For cripe's sake. I'd fallen out of the chair, and a downpour of books was still coming down on me. That is some sitcom shit. A mountain of dust with it. Seriously? What? Suddenly, Michelle was there, looking down on me from a little ways away. There was, as usual, not much I could read from his expression, but I could hear a vague trace of exasperation in his voice. I was doing some cleaning and
Impressive work.
fucking damn. Savagery. I'm usually better than this. It's just so dark. Mistakes should be expected. So it's actually your fault, Michelle. I really think we should open some windows, Master. Get some light, some air flowing through here.
Never asked. You did this entirely yourself.
But there's so much dust. It can't be good for you.
Perfectly healthy.
Well, of course you can't. It's so dark. Had he even seen himself? No way someone that skinny was perfectly healthy. I feel attacked.
You look like you have some.
He can make out my face in this darkness? Oh, you know. I wanted to be useful, and cleaning is about all I can do here, so, you know.
I was sensing.
Let out a sigh and stepped over toward the pile of books, and then reached his hand down for me. Ah. I suddenly felt a pang of embarrassment about the fact that I was still splayed out on the floor. But I raised my hand up to take his, only for him to pick up a book instead. You could at least help me up.
You have legs.
Good God.
I like this version of Michelle better.
Yeah, this is a little funny. I don't know. Maybe it's just middle school Eric coming back. God damn. Impressive work. Like, clearly she's not bleeding. Everything's fine. Anyway, he said, casually returning the book to the top shelf. Maybe I was wrong. Maybe he was a terrible person.
Shift again.
So, Master, are all these books yours?
Giselle asked, not a trace of remorse visible in her, despite having made a mess of the room she was supposedly trying to clean. I gave a curt.
Really? That's impressive. Must have been hard work getting them all in here, huh? There's got to be 100 books here. Okay, so that's like 10 years. At a book a month. You could fill a whole carriage at least. 100 books, though, is like a couple shelves. Maybe they're big. It's like you've got your own personal library.
She had been pouting only moments ago. Her jade eyes were like little balls of curiosity glittering in the. I was not particularly fond of overly expressive, rather overly curious women. Did they not care that they trampled uninvited into other people's personal space? Or were they not even aware that their actions were invasive? I averted my. I receive one roughly every month.
See, wait.
She turned back towards the ship. I presumed she understood the implications of what I just said and the count
It's hard.
of the fact that there were nearly 100 tomes here and I received only one a month.
Uh,
Fell, fell. I couldn't blame her if she thought my circumstances or my family or my life. But I didn't care what she thought of me. In fact, it was to my advantage for her. I just needed her to stay quiet and keep business.
Tsundere ass.
There's more than I thought. Said not to her. I had no reason to count the passage of time anymore. Only the books served as a record of how
121. 11. There are 121 books. 10 years in 1 month. I can't do math.
counting. I thought she just sheeped
Arithmetic.
gone quiet. What an inscrutable woman.
You've been here in the mansion for that long? By yourself?
Truth was, had been times when I wasn't alone. But Giselle, that look of pity formed in. I never asked for her sympathy. I'm here by choice.
You mean you weren't banished here?
No restraint this came here of my own volition. I didn't care enough to elaborate. Picking another book up off the floor, I brought. It was a gaudily decorated tome.
It's a very fancy book, isn't it?
But apparently, Giselle was unable to take a hint.
What's it about?
I let out a sigh and opened to no page in particular, sticking the book out towards her. She was a servant and a woman. There was no way she could read.
Fucking. What a prick, though. Let's see here. This land is hardly suitable for cultivation. Ugh, Farmer's Almanac. It can only produce over sour grapes. I would probably get more out of it if I tore down the fields and made it into a market. Sounds like a lord's diary?
Thought slightly guard. It was rare for a noble woman to be able to read, let alone a servant. Be truly what she claimed to be.
Teach me. So, is this book any interesting?
Dull,
Is this book
worthless.
any interesting?
I can't imagine why anyone thought.
But it's not very often you'd get to see a lord's diary. I'm rather curious about what kind of things he griped about.
Lord or king, what value was there in another? There was no knowledge contained in that book, just emotion, unsightly. There was nothing more exhausting. If you want to read it, be my guest.
It wasn't my intention, but alright. Once I've got the whole mansion cleaned, I'll read it.
Told you, you don't have to clean.
Oh, I've got an idea, Master. If you're interested, maybe we could read together.
Did you hear a word I just said? It's dull, worthless tripe.
Still, you might see it differently if you read it with someone else. And I'm sure there are some books here you would enjoy, Master.
Wasting.
Wasting our time.
The suspicion and restraint budding, fright and still smiling. After instant, perhaps I wouldn't have.
Been a little under 2 weeks since I had moved in with Michelle. Though we lived in the same house, we rarely saw each other. And on lucky days, I wouldn't see him at all. I wasn't sure if he ate in his room or our schedules were simply misaligned, but we never had any meals together. Perhaps he was deliberately avoiding me. That has to be it. I know servant and master don't usually eat at the same table, but even so, he could at least be a little less obvious about it. Am I really that much of a nuisance?
Yes, you hear from down the hall.
Some heavy clatter of some shit being tossed in the vague direction. I'm not doing anything inappropriate, am I? I'm being pleasant and sociable, aren't I? I haven't given him any reason not to like me, I think. It's probably the constant out loud narrative that's running by being in your proximity. That might be it. I don't know. I'm not trying to read too far into that, but he had never been very enthusiastic about my staying here. But I hadn't been given a choice. I'd been sent here by his family. Besides, no, out with the negative thoughts. Gotta stay positive. Yeah, he hasn't tried to chase me out yet. I just haven't broken the ice. I have to stay positive. Had to stay positive. Optimistic. Happy thoughts.
Happy thought. Oh.
Be myself. As long as I kept working at it with enough time, Michelle would surely come around and not be so distant. Got a goal, so let's get to work. First, I'll make supper, and then I ask him to have it with me. Gotta be proactive when it comes to the reclusive types. Accurate. Alright, here goes. Here would go? Just had supplies. Well, so much for that. The cellar was where the non-perishable foods was stored. Food was stored. Dried food, smoked meats, cheeses, and a small scattering of root vegetables. Looking at this makes me feel like a soldier holding down a castle's fortifications. Had Michelle really gone 10 years on nothing but this? I would have raised the white flag long ago. He said he hadn't left the mansion at all in those 10 years. I assume he at least goes out to get supplies, right? Running out of food is kind of a life or death matter. I can't believe he hasn't set foot outside even once. And I can read.
What are you babbling on about?
What? He overheard me.
Assumed you were talking to someone?
Yeah, I mean me. Huh? Does anyone else live here, Master? I haven't seen anyone.
5.
What? You mean there are ghosts? Hey, is it dead bodies? There you go again with the jokes, finger guns. I'm not a child. You're not gonna trick me like that.
There are adults.
Suppose, but I don't really believe in ghosts or demons or curses or any of that. The church just tries to convince people they're real so they can squeeze more money out of them.
Face Giselle. Have to turn you over to the church then, you blasphemer?
No. I pray every day, honest.
Okay. I'm returning to my chambers.
Not cool. They'll straight up burn me. What, already? You didn't come down for food?
Only came down because I heard voices.
Just the one. A moment, please. Just wait a second.
What?
Doors are almost empty. What do you normally do when you need more food? I'll happily accompany you on a trip to the market.
Hey.
There are two of us. I really don't eat that much, do I? In the dim light, it was difficult to make out Michelle's expression, but I thought I could see a tinge of annoyance on his face. Hold your ground, Giselle. You said you wanted to get closer to him. Is that a parsnip? Michelle was holding a tangled ball of roots. What you got there? Parsnip? Maybe it's maybe a leek? The reason I asked was because the parsnip looked like it was on the verge of total decomposition.
He like still food.
That's he then handed it to me. Well, wait, you want to eat that? It's clearly seen better days. You're gonna get sick. Or are you telling me that you can survive on rotten vegetables?
Of course, I won't eat it.
Damn.
Figured you were hardy enough to survive,
What do you think I am? No, he is definitely a jerk.
or that the resulting diarrhea might reduce your appetite.
You're kidding, right? That's literally like the opposite. You can't be serious. Anyway, we should bury that outside. Then we can go purchase fresh supplies.
Told you.
And how do you. Huh? A visitor? Who could it be?
Perfect timing.
Amazon.
Servant, make yourself useful. Retrieve the. If it's not a delivery, but a wanderer.
Oh shit, he even says so. What package? Master? Hold on a second. What are you talking about?
And he's gone.
What delivery is he expecting? Michelle stood there unmoving, veiled in shadow. He glanced over to me, then threw his gaze to the front door like an ass. At his command, I raised the bar, pulling open the door. After nearly 2 weeks inside, the light from the setting sun almost blinded me. The world went white, my head pounding. After a few moments of intense blinking, my eyes acclimated themselves to the evening sunlight. There was no one outside, only a crate large enough to fit a child. Is this the package?
You ordering children?
Master? What else would it fucking be? No, this is a totally unrelated box that I leave on my. It's to scare off. It's a dummy package, you see. Like, but he. I turned back to face Michelle, but he wouldn't meet my eyes. Though it seemed more like he was avoiding looking at the light than at me. Starting to seem more and more like a vampire. Not that I believe in vampires.
We would know. We wouldn't want you to think there are vampires in this.
Obviously, he's not a vampire. That's silly. Vampires aren't real, only witches and interdimensional houses that are made of memory. And talking paintings. I'm trying to think what else. But regardless, I pray there's nothing bad in there.
I do like the fact that the writers of the story, because even when I first played it, I was like, "This is a story about fucking vampires," and even you were like, "Are they vampires?"
Well, he's the fucking albino. Like,
Right.
he's got red eye. He
Yeah.
looks like a Skyrim vampire.
Yeah, and then the story's like, "Oh, you thought there was your vampires in this? What's wrong with you?"
You did that on purpose. That's heavy. Master, can I get some help? Gee, thanks. I am a servant, admittedly, but this is a lot to ask of just one girl. A little help would sure be nice.
Once it's inside, close and bar the door.
He said dispassionately, his head still turned toward the darkness. As you wish, Master. Once the door was shut, I felt myself sucked back into a world of darkness.
I think what hasn't come up yet, at least from the first telling of the story, the fake version of the story, he'd already admitted like I have a curse where I can't touch people, but here it's not, hasn't been brought up at all.
It doesn't like, and he wasn't alone. He says
Yeah.
he came here of his own choosing, not that he was kind of banished or exiled here, which is how I remember it being presented. That may not have actually been the case, but yeah. So it's interesting. Some of the little changes that still end in the same place, but yeah. and like him mentioning, oh, and if it's somebody who's not giving us a package, run them off,
Right.
was like already casually mentioned. Uh, but anyway, one which we had like a break in or scare or something like that, as I remember it. For the final confrontation. But once the door was shut, I found myself. Yeah, I did that. It hadn't even been 2 weeks, but the lack of light was beginning to become my normal. The outside world was growing farther and farther away. Being holed up in here is definitely not good for me. I should go for a walk sometime. Maybe plant some flowers or vegetables. Yeah, I like that idea. Maybe I can grow that old tangle of roots into some fresh parsnip. What else do we have to plant? It'd be great if there were some flower seeds.
Box.
As you wish, master. Oh, there's food inside? In the box was a burlap sack filled with berries, root vegetables, and smoked meats, as well as an assortment of bread and fruit and wine. Aside from the fruit and bread, everything else was the same as what Michelle had kept in the cellar. Blah. Ah, and buried beneath the burlap sack was a single book. One book a month. He really hasn't gone outside in 10 years.
It appears you have begun to grasp this.
Yeah, I mean, he could have just said, but why? This was delivered by somebody from your home, master, wasn't it?
Servant.
Did they leave without saying anything?
In the past, they would occasionally check in on me.
Think you're cursed?
Ah, right. Don't believe in curses. Then come up with your own explanation. Excuse for them to want to stay away from me. That,
No, I
for
mean, like,
example, I killed someone. Or maybe I'm insane.
I couldn't.
Regardless, I am not normal.
Well, yeah.
Bring the food down to the cellar. The book to the library. You are, of course, free to refuse and run back off into the woods.
I'll do it.
All right. Take care of that.
Hey,
Is it?
I just noticed that there's something else in here. It's wrapped in cloth. What could it be? Ooh, a painting. You to hang up somewhere in the house, I presume? It's so dark I can't see it very well, but I'm sure it's.
Don't touch that.
Joe, who had kept his distance from me until that point, suddenly marched over and ripped the painting from my grasp. Master, his face was twisted into a look I had never seen him make before. Was it indignation, disgust, hatred, panic? I couldn't tell, but there was more than enough negative pressure to cause me to flinch back. I, is that painting perhaps something important? Good guess.
Penscape.
He muttered under his breath, the tension melting away from his face. I was left looking at at his usual blank, impenetrable expression. But his eyes were still fixated on the picture, staring at it unblinkingly.
Not of anywhere nearby. Hole somewhere? No, it's not of that girl, so that's an improvement.
Master?
Oh. Oh, here.
Still here? Of course I'm still here. Who do you think you asked to take care of the package? What's with you? Just running over and snatching the painting from me? You scared me. Could you maybe explain yourself? What's so special about that painting?
I don't believe that's any of your business.
None of mine. Of course it is. You ripped it out of my hands like I was some kind of thief. I have a right to know what that was all about. And maybe an apology while you're at it. You told me to open the box, so I did. Then all of a sudden you're angry?
We are not equal. Do not mistake yourself for my. You have a right to know. You have no such thing.
You, you don't have to be so rude.
I'll say it again. Leave if you don't like it here. I never asked to be here. That was your wish.
Nuh-uh. My wish? Are you out of your mind? I never asked for this. I never wished for it. Who in their right mind would want to be sent to some house in the middle of nowhere? Who would even ever want to go through that? Mm. This guy. He said so. This one right here. No, calm down, Giselle. You can't get angry.
Like me when I'm angry.
You're right. That is what I wanted. I never wanted to make you mad or for us to argue like this. I just wanted to get to know you better, to get closer to you. I mean, it would make things go smoother for the both of us. It would make living together more enjoyable for us.
Listen, this is very important for you. Do not try to involve yourself. Do not go probing around. And if you can't do that, leave.
I completely shut out. The glare he was giving me and the standoffish aura he was emanated were reflected in his tone of voice. Why? Why did he try to push me away like that?
It seemed Giselle really didn't know much about. Despite being sent here from the house, she was unaware of the monthly deliveries. Lived in a though not have anything. Why had she been sent here left completely in the dark? Giselle looked up at me, bewilderment, though I thought like her true feeling. Everyone had darkness hidden. No one was exactly. She was undoubtedly thinking, not here because I knew from the moment I first saw her that her bubbly, sweet act was. She thought I was dense enough not to. She was no different. But I didn't. Why she refused, no matter how. What was she hiding?
Told
Those
you!
innocent
Why?
looking eyes. What was she thinking? What did she carry on her? Everyone is hiding something. Really what?
She thinks out loud!
May I ask you,
Yes?
on the day you arrived, that
Another
you made
day.
a teeny tiny working at. Tell me about it. What did
No,
you
I fucked your
do
dad.
at the Bollinger? Gotta last
Ooh, we do.
that
Nice.
moment.
In that. Oh, yeah, that's you. Sorry.
Brief though it was,
Reflex.
her disposition was no anger. Couldn't tell. Nevertheless, it was abundantly clear that the subject she had no interest. So she had fangs. The smile she donned was now visibly.
It's nothing you need concern yourself with, Master. I promise it was an insignificant little thing.
Couldn't say. What did she? What did this woman know about that? What did she know about me? I am the master of this house. You are a servant. Still, you refuse to tell me.
She's like, it's the story like the white haired girl had. Um, in the. Yeah, she was like secretly trying to get revenge. Same as Emma. That kind of stuff. Anyway, like I said, it's nothing. There's no reason to bother you. With with a mere servant's personal blunders, master.
Hiding.
Hiding anything.
Then you should be able to tell me exactly what you did at the Bollingers.
Mostly cleaning, like I said.
Tell me. Tell me.
Me a thing about yourself, and yet you demand others to tell you about themselves.
Hello, master, servant.
Yeah, like we are not equals. There was a bit about that. Here you are, practically threatening me, demanding I tell you something I don't want to talk about, and yet you still haven't told me anything about the painting.
Oh, I was right. Do have some. How many more times must I repeat myself? We are not equal. I don't care. Insignificant or something you don't want to talk about. I'm ordering you to. A trifling blunder would not get someone sent to live with a cursed man and spoken of so unfavorably. Whatever she had done at the Bollinger estate, that had something to. If she truly hadn't done anything, then she had something to gain from this. Possibly for me. And if that was the case, I had to get her to talk. Giselle's eyes were open wide. I recognized the look she was giving me. I knew very well what that gave. Oh,
You're an abomination.
same as them. Fear, contempt, revulsion, repulsion. The way she acted, the way she spoke, exactly the comfortable. I made her thought I was unpleasant, despicable, thought I was.
Insecure.
In a frenzy, I grabbed her by the shoulders, clamping down far more powerfully than I had meant to.
Ow, stop.
Her face, contorted in pain, morphed into someone else's. Who was I directing my anger at? Where was this rage being aimed? Who are you calling an abomination?
I'm sorry? What?
Tell me! Who?
This is a Wendy's.
The black furor bubbling up from within me knew. The girl, she ridiculed me, denied my identity with her glare. I couldn't escape phantom, that reaction.
What are you? I never called you, No, get away from me. Get your hands off me.
Giselle screams, but in the entrance hall, rattling my. She frantically smacked my arms aside, back to my senses. We touched her, so that curse isn't real.
Yeah, it's not a literal curse. That was a metaphor.
She was standing a little ways away, breathing heavily, arms wrapped tightly around her body, glowering, showing her opposition to my touching.
I'm sorry? No, no, no. You just, you startled me. That's all.
Some servant you are, telling your master not to touch you.
What the hell do you do with your, oh, right. I'm, allergic to people. Nailed it. It's very unique condition, I hear. I mean, can you believe that? See, some people get all red and itchy when they touch a dog or a cat.
Well, now we know where the story of the curse came from.
Right. It's that, except for people, so don't touch me. So I'm sorry. I wasn't trying to be disrespectful. I beg your forgiveness.
Don't you? This is what's going through your mind right now. I have nothing to apologize for.
No, that's not.
I can somewhat sympathize with your plight. being made to apologize, though you're hurting. I raise my hand against you first, after all.
Didn't you you forgive me?
Sympathy does not equate to forgiveness.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna throw this candle at you.
Now, you take care of the package. I'm heading back to my.
Catch, asshole. um,
What is it?
you're not gonna make me leave after what I just did.
No, I'm not. He might make you leave on your own whenever I so please.
I mean, yeah, that was assault.
Besides, I had yet to learn what she had done. Exceedingly difficult to get away from her own mouth, which write a letter to my mother, much as the very thought revolted me.
That is never the only option. There's no situation where writing a letter to your mother is the only option. Several days had passed since the package arrived. The end of my third week living in the mansion was drawing near. Michelle wasn't getting any friendlier either. He continued to either snub or bluntly dismiss me whenever we crossed paths. I didn't understand why he acted that way around me, but there was little point in asking what, uh, sorry, when he seemed to think there was little point in talking to me at all. Although at first I had been sure there was some way to get him to warm up to me. The more I spent time in the mansion, the more my willpower began to feel like it was at its breaking point. I could tell myself to stay positive until I was blue in the face, but it would only work for so long, particularly since I was basically blue to start. The one pretty place in the whole house. I'm glad it hasn't been covered back up. Or he didn't, whatever. I can read, I swear. Blue moonlight shone quietly through the stained glass window, vainly illuminating some of the room. I hadn't noticed until now, but the room with the stained glass window appeared to be modeled after a chapel. Rows of pews faced the window, below which sat what used to be a pulpit. There was very little left of it, though, and an awkward length of silver was mounted to the pulpit's front face. It was, I assumed, formerly a cross. Upon further reflection, rather than facing the window, the pews seemed to be pointed at the pulpit, or perhaps the cross hanging on it. I wasn't sure why there would be a chapel in a mansion, but I had no one to ask about it. For a house of this size, a statue of Christ or the Virgin Mary seems more appropriate. It's a very well made chapel at any rate. Interesting. I doubted Michel had it built for himself. There would be no reason for him to cover up the window if that were the case. Nor had I ever seen him come to pray. He doesn't seem like one to believe in God. God. I'm not even sure if God really existed, then I'm sure the world would be a much more pleasant, peaceful place. No unfair disparities in money or power. No senseless misfortune. I certainly wouldn't have found myself here either. But God was evidently quite fond of giving mankind trials, so he would probably tell me with a straight face that this was one too, the little sadist. Or perhaps we simply had a false impression of him, and he didn't actually give us anything. He merely sat back and watched from somewhere far, far away. It wasn't his job to bring peace to the world or ensure our laws were fair. That was all mankind's responsibility. What is God? What are angels? I have no idea. Maybe the Bible has answers? Why should I pray to someone so far away? How do I know my prayer is even getting there? But still, it's not like I have any other options. Yeah, it's getting burned at the stake talk already here. Agnostic? How dare you? Don't you worry. It'll all work out. Promise. I already know where I'm going to work. It's a really prominent noble house, way out of reach of some small time merchants like us. You never know. This could be my big break. Oh, I'm just kidding. Don't look so worried. I'll be just fine, honestly. I'll make enough money for us to get back on our feet. Oh, for goodness sake, I can handle it. Leave everything to me. You just wait. I'll make our family into something you can be proud of. I'll be fine. Yeah, say bye to mom for me. I probably won't be home for a while. What? You're afraid I'm gonna make some careless mistake? I I'm not that airheaded. I can be a refined and elegant young lady. Those nobles won't even know what to believe anymore. If you don't believe me, how about I give you a little taste? Ahem. Oh, she's a performer. That's why we were hearing about that in the beginning. That makes sense. How are you this fine morning, master? Your morning beverage is ready, prepared with the utmost of care. See, how about that? Not bad, huh? What? You really think it sounded forced? It was the daughter of a merchant who ran a shop in a capital's main street. Oh well. Father had passed away in a plague, so it was just me, my mother, and my older sister. It would be a lie to say business was doing well. We struggled to squeak by day to day after taxes. But we couldn't just abandon the shop and leave the capital either. So we tried to make the best of what we were able to take in between the three of us. Then my sister fell in love with a moderately well off aristocrat. My mom and I were supportive of her and her desire to marry. But their union almost fell apart because she was not suitable for him. Merchants were hardly the lowest class. What we lacked instead was wealth. We needed another source of money beyond what the shop took in. If only we had money, my sister could get married. If only we had money, my mom wouldn't have to work so hard. If only we had money. It was then that someone from the distinguished Bollinger estate approached me. He said that they were in need of Abigails and they would love to have me. He said that if I agreed to work for them, the Bollinger estate would take care of my family. Generally speaking, noble houses took Abigails from other lower ranked noble houses. It was unthinkable for someone of my status to receive such an offer. Yeah, that's what I was thinking of. That's what the like her source back. I don't think she's like an illegitimate child that's been shipped off and came back or something necessarily, but something like that
Yeah.
feels like it's going on. Somewhere between that and the like revenge for what your dad did to my dad thing that we saw in the like Mafia one. I don't know. So I took it as a once in a lifetime chance and accepted the offer. I just prayed that nothing bad happens to my sister and that mom is getting enough money to live comfortably. That's all I can do. They're nobility. They have plenty of money, enough to spare some. Uh, the light shining through the stained glass window began to grow murky, fading into blackness. It felt like a message from on high that no, my prayers would not be answered. The bluish white illumination shining down upon me disappeared as clouds blocked the moon. Oh, come on. You don't even want to look at at a sullied woman like me? Ooh, a sullied woman. See that? Oh, for heaven's sake! I never asked to end up like this. See, I'm saying nobility. They have plenty of money, enough to spare some. Come on, you want to look at a sullied woman like me? Oh, for heaven's sake! I never asked to end up like this.
Still was sitting at just looking at her. You
Really
might
gotta
have
work on the talking myself.
just looking at her. You might have thought she was offering a prayer. Words coming from her mouth were they were filled with resentment. Plenty of sullied. Then So this is most likely all I need to do now is confirm my suspicions of them. Awful secrets will cover. I gave Giselle, sitting in the pew, head and droop, a cursory glance before leaving the chair. I had somewhere else to. The bitterly cold, the bitterly cold, the bitterly cold outside air felt like dozens of needles flowing into my lungs. It had been so long since I stepped beyond the mansion's walls. Thick mist canopied the night sky. Naturally, the heavens did not rejoice at my leaving. It had been 10 years since I'd seen the mansion from, and it hadn't changed one bit. Gloomy, shrouded in darkness. Hardly the kind of place someone would enthusiastically. Nevertheless, what's better than that house?
Do you have any idea? Like, it's not Giselle again?
No, it's not Giselle.
I
This is,
guess that would have been labeled
if I
as
recall,
Giselle. So.
this is a man, but I don't remember.
Yes. Who is it?
Giselle.
Joe Bollinger? Just one moment. I'll be right there. Come in. It's a humble abode, but make yourself at home. Wow, I must say this is rather unexpected. Just one word, and I would have been up there in a heartbeat.
How was I supposed?
I'd,
I am
pigeon.
regrettably fresh out of carrier pigeons.
Right, yeah. My apologies.
This man, living in a small cottage not far from the mansion, had been hired by the Bolland. His job? Over me. Said we never act. He was tasked with keeping track of whether I was still alive. The monthly package from my family was delivered to him, which he then passed on to me. It was insipidly convoluted, but it was indicative of how much they wanted to avoid anyone learning about
Then, what can I do for you?
the manservant was visibly rattled, afraid, but not because of the difference in our social rank. I had a pretty good idea what he'd been talking about me. He was afraid of me, or more specifically, curse. People fear that. They fear demons, witches, and curses, anything impure. But I gotten used to being viewed as such. It didn't sadden me, disappoint me. Some things were too foolish. Doesn't make me feel good. I was, on some level, annoyed. That woman's appearance at the mansion had created ripples I once. So before I got into the real reason for my visit, I decided to take out a bit of my frustration. Raise your head. There's no reason. I don't know what you've been told, but I promise I don't bite. I'm a vampire.
Ah, how rude of me. All right, my sincerest apologies.
Your job is to keep watch over me. Mere sight of me has you trembling. What will you do if I try to run? I would have little trouble escaping.
That would be quite unfortunate. It was sort of a stoop kid situation up till now, though. What would I ever tell your mother?
I'm not sure that would end well at all. Lose everything you've been paid so far. In fact, I'd be lucky to get life.
What? No, I kept you here up till now. There's no way they could come back for the money they've already given. Surely your mother would not.
You are aware of who you're dealing with.
Fuck.
Michelle, the cursed youngest son of the Bollinger, who made a pact with the devil. I don't need a blade to make it back to.
Have mercy, Lord Michelle. Please do not leave the mansion. Please spare me. What?
I don't have the power to kill you by way of curses aren't real. The man fell silent, but the look on his face said, "Are cursed though. You? When someone's got the idea planted in their head, it's nigh impossible. I am so cursed that anyone I need to be locked away. I'm here not to warn you that
Sorry. Ooh. A question for me.
yes, approximately 3 weeks ago, a black-haired woman came. Tell me what you know about her."
Was told there would be an Abigail coming, but that's all. I don't know anything else about her. I swear, that's all I know. I haven't been told anything else.
Leave you. I thought they would.
Right.
He had been hired to observe me, but that's all he was. He wouldn't be privy to the Bollinger family. Take this. I need you to deliver it to
Could have just left it in the box from this month's package and I would have collected it when I dropped off the next one.
I am in urgent need to do this for me.
Yes. Why, yes, absolutely. I'll fetch a delivery boy tomorrow morning.
Appreciate it.
You two, do take care. Lord Michelle, is it true that you don't have?
Would you like me to sew your mouth? Never open.
Not at all. My sincerest apologies, Lord Michelle. That was horribly disrespectful. Good night.
My mother's response arrived 10 days. Delivery boy pushed his. It was almost exactly a month after. Phone. The rift between us grew deeper. All I lay bare, merciless, punishing my. Hmm.
Guessing it's metaphorical language. I don't know. How did we get to this point? Ugh, I hate everything. My spirits were getting darker and darker, like they were slowly sinking into a deep morass, or like I was switching to Captain Morgan. I had been at the mansion for a month, and every day since felt twice as long as it should have. I had been optimistic at first. I'd even had a little hope that me and Michelle could get along together. But it hadn't taken long for that hope to be shattered, and the cheer locked away inside me. We lived in the same house, but we never spoke anymore. Smoke. On the few occasions we did cross paths, he just gave me a cold glare and nothing more. Scorn and suspicion in his eyes. Whenever he looked at me like that, it felt as though my throat was being constricted, like I was deep underwater and running out of air. Like my very presence in the world was a crime. Never could have imagined how agonizing constant rejection was. I started despising others, despising myself, despising the world, convinced there was no one who could set me free. I considered running away from everything rather than live like this another day. But I would have done so long ago. But I would have done so long ago if that were actually an option. If they found out I had fled, that had acted outside their wishes, my mom and sister would pay. I had succeeded in allowing my sister to get married and my mom to live comfortably. I had given them happiness. I couldn't ask that. I couldn't take that away from them again. I don't know where ask came
Mm.
from. Not after what I had to go through to do it. No, cut that out. Getting way too depressing, Giselle. Pull yourself together. That's not who you are. Yeah, definitely. I like be positive and like too depressing. Like these are not things that people said in the Middle Ages. I don't think. Anyway, I don't know. I wasn't there. The negativity didn't only come from my interactions with Michelle either. No, there seemed to be some kind of terrible presence within the mansion that twisted people's hearts. The mansion was, in fact, a bit of a local legend, which I had been informed about before being sent here. People claimed it was cursed, and that an evil witch had lived in it for many, many years. Michelle joked that he was the witch, but I didn't believe him. I'm not usually one to believe in magic or curses at all, but being here so long, I can't help but wonder. Anyway, things can't go on like this. If I was to remain in this house, the situation needed to improve. A lot. I was going to lose my mind if things kept up as they were. I was ready to give up once, but I'm going to try closing the distance between us again. If I could get him to open up, even the tiniest bit, then maybe that would make living here a little easier.
Extroverted people are such a pain to live with.
I wasn't going to try and make us best friends or anything. Just repair our relationship enough that being around each other wasn't torturous. See, but like that's not an extrovert. I mean, we
Yeah.
got here because an extrovert ran into an introvert and they're both a little spiteful.
Yeah.
But um but now it's just like okay, but like we do live in the same house. We need to not like actively hate each
Right.
other.
Yeah.
That is not going to work out. I've got my work cut out for me. How do I even begin that conversation? Heck, I don't know when they started saying heck either. What is that conversation even going to be about? Maybe I should hold off, do it another day. No, I've made up my mind to do this, so I should get to it quickly. The longer I wait, the worse things are going to get. And eventually, there won't be any fixing anything. We need to talk. We need to be in the same room for more than 10 seconds, and we need to get to know each other. He needs to know that he's not the reason I have something to hide. Okay, let's do this. I made my way to Michelle's chambers, which he had told me to stay away from. My stride was slow and ponderous, but at the very least, I did my best to keep some semblance of a smile on my face. Now we're gonna have that like, oh my god, wah! When he opens the door while she's agonizing over knocking or something. Anyway, this is the one time where I'd really like to have someone to give me a little nudge. Breathe in, breathe out. Okay. Oh, I was wrong. Boo! Pardon, Master? There's something I'd like to talk to you about. Master? I guess he's not here.
Out drinking blood.
Blah! The door wasn't locked. And as was the rest of the house, his room was shrouded in darkness. The only light came from the candle in my hand. Master? Are you there, Master? Hello? Not trespassing. I guess I missed him. It's probably best if I don't stick around for long. He's already got a less than stellar impression of me. I don't want to imagine what'll happen if he thinks I've been snooping around through his room. Yeah, I should get out of here. There we go. Now we got it. I should have realized it was going to be flipped around. They've been doing that with most of that stuff. Okay. I spun around on my heels, taking a step toward the door, and ah! When I caught sight of an object draped in a black sheet. Not yet. Darn. I knew I had to get out of there as quickly as possible, but I was intrigued by that object. Something he kept hidden in a room I was forbidden to enter? Maybe it was a clue to discovering Michelle's secrets. I reached my hand down toward the object, knowing good and well I shouldn't. Was it because I wanted to learn more about him? Was it because I wanted to tear down the veil he hid behind? Or was it, you know, the whispers of the witch? Yeah,
That
one
one.
that isn't my fault. It's definitely not that, like, innate desire to pull the stupid, to push the button when the sign says do not push or whatever. What do we have here? I was going to say, I think the woman in the paintings must be her, right? Okay. I should have said it. Darn. I pulled off the sheet, revealing a framed painting of what appeared to be a noblewoman with porcelain white skin. What stood out about her, though, was that the woman's hair was as pale as her skin. Oh, it's the white haired girl. And then. Ooh, that's not healthy behavior. I noticed something else. Wide gashes ravaging the canvas, damaging her face beyond repair. What the? I imagined it had once been a painting of a beautiful woman, but there was hardly a trace of that left. The only feeling it inspired anymore was a deep chill. The damage was not accidental. It was deliberate, angry, and the contempt emanating from within the frame was stifling. Thick, suffocating blackness seeped into me. Why would anyone? She was surely a most beautiful woman, angelic even. A storm of questions assaulted me. Who was she? Why had her face been carved up? Why had the painting been covered? What had happened? What had
See
happened?
what had happened.
What could have. There's only one person who could have done this. Michelle. Why on earth? Cartoon bobble of the candle. You saw.
All the painting.
Uh,
You entered my room, didn't you?
I
Angelic, you say? There's nothing
Shit, was that out
angelic
loud?
about that damned woman.
I swear I was thinking. That one did not. I scrambled to make some excuse, but nothing would come out of my mouth for once. All I could do was tremble. Vampire. Ooh, a little blade. Look at the katana shaped dagger there. Elements of all the different stories. Sorry.
Why did you enter my chambers?
Michelle.
What were you looking for?
Mm,
Answer me.
my mouth wouldn't move properly. I couldn't make my voice come out. It was like wasn't even in my own body anymore. The wisps of air that were drawn into my lungs were expelled as hoarse gasps. My breaths were shallow and rapid. I was inhaling, but I wasn't getting any air. I was terrified. Terrified. Terrified, terrified. Of his eyes, of his voice, of his feelings, of the knife he was holding up to me. Seems like that order maybe it was wrong. Of the terrible past I was chained to. The man's voice. The man's very flesh terrified me.
What were you trying to find, and what were you planning to do with it? Answer me. Another thing you refused to tell me then.
No, I'm trying. Nothing's coming out of my mouth, though. Everything's so bright, and I can't catch my breath. I can't breathe.
That's fine. You don't have to. I have a pretty good idea.
An idea? What do you mean?
Money is what brought you to the Bollinger Estate, and it's what brought you to me, too. There are countless people who would love to see. and a noble family fears nothing more than You were, I presume, approached by someone scheming the Bollinger's downfall.
No.
And it just so happens the Bollingers have a very unfortunate secret, one they are quite desperate to keep under wraps. Someone suspected I might still be alive, so they sent you to dig up information. My very existence threatens to tear down that house. The cursed youngest son of the Bollinger. Michelle, who made a pact with the devil, who is supposed to be dead, but is very much alive.
He's the one who is a bastard.
You sweet talked your way into that house and into information about me in the present situation. And you mean to trade that information for money. I bet whoever it was put. Oh, okay. I bet whoever it was put quite a handsome price on it, too. Or maybe the one plotting to ruin the Bollinger family is you.
No. No, that's not true.
Then enlighten me.
Please, hear me out. I don't know anything about you. I wasn't sniffing around or trying to bring you to harm in any way.
Tell me, if that's not the reason you wormed your way into the Bollinger estate, and that's not what you're doing here, then tell me what it is.
I
Tell me why you came to this mansion.
You want me to tell you about that? No way, that's asking too much.
Tell me.
I swear, I haven't done anything to wrong you. I simply wanted to make our life together a little more comfortable, to bring some warmth to this frigid relationship we have. That's the only reason I wanted to find out more about you.
I must have. Right then, Giselle, since you're talking in your head and not out loud.
Right. For once. I must tell him he's wrong. I must tell him I mean him no harm. But I can't say anything.
A merchant's daughter became an Abigail at Noble House. Could you come up with a more obvious lie?
Your father's the one who... Wait. How does he know that I'm from a merchant family?
Perplexed. I may be imprisoned in this house, but I'm not free to move about as I please, but I have my ways. I know everything.
Everything? Then he knows about that, too.
Oh, yeah.
Well, then why are you asking why she's here? But please, don't.
In your quest for money.
Don't say it.
Slept with my father.
Nailed it. In that moment, Joe plunged his knife into my heart. Was not metaphorical. Okay.
Nope, it was metaphorical.
Oh, okay, it was. Fuck's sake. Bastards! He carved through my chest with those words, motherfuckers, causing me to completely lose control of myself. In a panicked frenzy, and probably screaming all the way, I knocked the man aside, and ran, and ran, and ran. I could hear a clap of thunder in the distance. Oh, how I wished a bolt of lightning would come crashing down upon me. Maybe if God burned my tainted flesh with a divine thunderbolt, it would get rid of some of the filth. But the jagged streaks of light cascading across the dark clouds did not strike me, only creating restless grumbles across the sky. In the sky. Why? I knew that if I fled that mansion, I would likely be causing trouble for my mom and sister. But I was helpless to stop myself. All I could do was run from all that threatened me with no regard for the consequences. Before long, small droplets of rain began falling, which soon grew heavy enough to penetrate the forest canopy and reach the ground where I stood. The downpour drowned out my tears and cries. Because I had rushed from the mansion without even putting on a cloak, each cold winter droplet stung bitterly against my flesh. but the bite of the rain was like a warm embrace compared to what I had been through before. Michelle had spoken the truth. As much as I had wanted to deny it, to avert my eyes, reality was forever engraved in this body. No, no, I don't want to think about it. But I had no say in the matter. Get out of my head, ref. Oh,
Come over here.
okay. May I ask why you asked me here so late at night, Master?
Oh, I just want to care for. Come closer. I had this wine imported from very hard water and make it very tart. Quite the impression on it. And yet, it goes down so easy. What do you say? Does your ex-trader allow wine's quality?
No, but
Please, Belle, don't trample all over faces.
well then, we'll have a sip, Master, but no more.
Have you ever considered growing out your...
Having longer hair made it difficult to do my job.
Not a merchant anymore, though. Deserve to look... I have no doubt longer hair would accentuate gorgeous shade of black, so deep a man lost in it. Would contrast the color of your skin, highlight your eyes, your cheekbones, your nape.
Get going?
Oh, but we're not done talking yet.
Want a lack of sleep to interfere with my ability to work tomorrow. Thank you very much for the wine. It was delicious.
You
Huh?
need to be so cold-hearted now. From the moment I first laid eyes on you.
Master, that's enough fooling around for one night.
Well, now, I wouldn't do anything. Simply want to...
Let go of me. I only came here for work, nothing more.
When I saw you,
Ah,
I thought it would be a tragic waste to wither away. Besides,
stop.
can't tell me you didn't know a merchant girl had no place in a house like this, even as a servant. There's only one reason.
No, I swear it never even crossed my mind.
Seem even more innocent than you look. You figured it all out by now.
No, 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 let go of me. Stop this.
Keep your...
Yeah.
Do not shout. If anyone were to find out about this, consequence me.
But
Maid, I'm the master. Whose word do you think holds?
ugh,
Don't worry. Hurt you. Promise your exception. Your mother will have the comfortable life you want, but you know it will happen. Plus, not only will your family not get any money, not only will your sister not get, you'll spend all the rest of your down on the
how could you be so cruel? This is this is blackmail.
blackmail. For a merchant's daughter, you don't know much about trade, do you? Then let me give you a little lesson about market value. The goods you're after, Giselle, are not cheap. And now,
He was an older man, so I hadn't expected him to be very strong. But I couldn't break free. Oh boy. But I couldn't break free of his grip, and I found myself entirely at his mercy. Beneath the gaudy outfits lay a hungry beast, and I was seeing the creature's true colors for the first time that day.
beast, you say? A bestia?
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's, yeah, like he put hands on her before and the same kind of thing. And she had like a strong reaction. It's like, oh, okay. But the aging man ran his disgusting, slobbering tongue across my exposed skin. Oh boy. Everything he placed his hands on upon withered away. Every piece of flesh he pressed his lips against putrefied, rotted, decayed, rankled. I trembled in revulsion at which the man laughed, seemingly interpreting it as something else. I wondered what kind of place hell was. If hell's wardens only flayed and carved their prisoners. I would have preferred that instead. I would have rather been sliced into tiny little chunks and cast into the hellfire. I would have chosen eternal torment over being touched by this man another second. But I didn't get to choose my hell.
I find it like even we haven't been given any confirmation whether or not the first three true or not. But like the quote unquote monsters and the horrors of those were very much like I said, the gothic horror stuff. But here it's like, oh, this is like a real fucking monster. This is like real life fucking horror.
What they mean when they use, yeah, like when people say vampire, like usually it's like literary symbolism for somebody like this kind of. Eventually, the man forced open the gates I had been holding fat. Oh God!
Cool.
And spread his festering death inside me. Ugh, feel gross.
Listen, it is in both of our two of us that I'll continue to do good by you and your family. Oh, don't look, please. I'm thrilled to have you here in this house. Just he hasn't long since lost, or has long since lost torture just being in the same room. And my sons, they you, Giselle, you give color, you make it exciting once again. Now go on back to your room.
Escape from that man's grasp. Not when he used my family against me. Some weeks I would just not go to his chambers, my one feeble means of resistance. But when I did that, he would send another Abigail to come find me the next day. I couldn't ignore his summons when he got other people involved. And then, when the two of us were alone, the mask would come off. And then he would discipline me for not showing up before taking care of his usual business. On good days, he would leave bruises in inconspicuous places, my abdomen, my inner thighs. Fuck's sake. But he went as far as carving a word into my skin with a knife. Harlot. That was why I was afraid of knives. That was why I was afraid of men shouting. I wasn't even sure what to regret anymore. I was in far too deep. There was no turning back the clock. I even considered taking my own life on more than one occasion. But every time the thought had crossed my mind, happy memories came with it. Back when it was just the three of us girls at the shop. Life may not have been easy, but it was never dull either. I didn't want to end my life at its absolute lowest point. I wanted, if just temporarily, to go back to the way things were then. The objective. Oh god, hang on, who am I about to sneeze? Nope. Oh, that's even worse. The objective was the only thing that allowed me to keep going. That objective. When I was in his presence, I tried to convince myself I was merely an object. I had no emotions, so he couldn't hurt me. Fuck. That was brutal. I was merely a vessel, a construct of flesh and bones. His hands couldn't reach my heart, or it was not connected to my body. Doing that made it a little easier to bear. But the reality was, it was impossible to completely sever my heart from my body.
You're Giselle, aren't
One day, the mistress of the estate stopped me in the halls. She had supposedly once been quite beautiful, but now she was only haggard and bony. Her skin dry, her eyes sunken, her hair faded and stripped of its luster, her head down, her cracked lips barely moving as she spoke. Age didn't appear to be the only thing that working its merciless magic on her either. There seemed to be something eating away at her from the inside, too, something that could burst at the lightest touch. Yes, I am Giselle. Is there something I can do for you? The mistress rarely ever left her chambers. I'd been told that it had been years since she attended family supper. So what would bring her to come looking for someone like me? What? I wasn't sure if I wanted to know the answer.
Are. You, you wretched creature. It was telling me the truth. Rusty maids caught a glimpse of you through a crack in the door. He saw you with him, you filthy rat. You seduced my husband. You, you devil! You conniving witch! You don't get it, do you? You don't realize how grievous your sin is, do you? Someone, anyone, restrain this girl! She's a demon, a devil! Tie her up and hand her over to the clergy! No, that won't be enough. A witch, you have to burn her bones, scatter the ashes, or just come back to life. Yes, yes, execute her! Kill this woman! Burn the witch! Seize the piece she's stolen from me. Cursed, cursed! This house is cursed! Not only has it taken away my daughter, now it's trying to take away my husband. Oh, God, please shine thy cleansing light upon this house.
It would be a waste of my breath trying to talk to her. She was not of sound mind. There was madness in her eyes. I have to be honest about it. It happened all on its own. There was no way around it. I should have just done it myself the first time. Oop. Okay. Sorry. I didn't have the energy to argue with her, or to cry, or to shout. Before long, a crowd began to form around me and the sobbing mistress, and in it stood him. I assumed he would just stand back and watch, but much to my surprise, he stepped in, with an embarrassed look on his face, trying to settle his wife and convince her not to have me executed. Maybe he did have a heart after all, or maybe he just wanted to save face. Regardless, instead of being burned at the stake, it was decided that I would be sent away to some remote forest. One of the previous Bollinger family heads had purchased a mansion there long ago, but it had been abandoned because of the stories people told about it. They had said a cursed witch dwelled in the house. She had returned to life after being executed, and now skulked about in the darkness. It was the perfect place to banish a sinner. And so, accused of adultery, I was in a carriage on my way out of the capital the next day. I hope my mom and sister are all right. The two of them will believe in me, even if no one else does. Wooden wheels turned, carrying me away. That cursed mansion. Just the silent coachman and his single, sullied passenger. Looking out through the window, I could see the city walls slowly fading into the distance behind us. I doubted I would ever set foot in this land again, ever to cross Grand Pond again. It was a saddening reality, but at the same time, I felt a surge of relief. I'd finally escaped from that house. I'd finally escaped from that man. This sense of freedom slightly lessened the weight of everything else I was feeling. A good while after we left the capital, the coachman handed me a letter I swear I can read. On the sheet of parchment was a rather startling revelation. There was someone else already living at the house where I was to reside. Bollinger's youngest child. But the letter didn't say why he had been sent to the Cursed Mansion, only that he was there. Beyond that, the letter only made a single request, that I look after him and not ask any questions. So I'm not just being sent off to the middle of nowhere. I still have work to do. If I look after whoever's at the mansion, then they'll do the same for my family. I don't have much to say in the matter either way, I suppose. Carriage rattled and shook as it traversed the stony path and bouncing around inside it. I resolved to take back my life, the peace I'd once known, the cheerfulness I had lost, and to do so, I would forget, lock away my memories, bury every terrible thing that had happened to me, cast aside those memories and find my smile once more. I have no idea who I'm going to find there, but they couldn't possibly do anything worse to me. I'll greet them with a smile and do my best to build up a decent relationship with them. I figured since both of us had been banished to the same cursed mansion, there would probably be other things we had in common, and so I would forget it all and get my life back, get my smile back. Ugh. That was everything that led up to me arriving at the mansion. All the wounds I never wanted to open again. I didn't want to think about that. I've been trying so hard to forget about it. I wanted to forget all about it. So why? Why did you have to make me remember? All I did was believe that we could make things work. Uh, why? How could you? God, I can't take it anymore. All of that. Breathing sounds. Ah! Once the memories had broken free, they all flooded back with perfect clarity. Intro. Exactly how he ran his hands across me. Exactly where he had hit me, where he cut me. Like I was going through it again, this very moment. Mm, mm, Erg. Rain was cooling me down on the outside, but so much nauseating heat was building up in my gut. I vomited all over the ground. I threw up, and I threw up, and I threw up until there was nothing left but bile. When had nothing left to expel, the strength evacuated from my knees, and I collapsed. I didn't know if everything was blurry because of the rain or because my eyes had decided that they were done looking at anything. The whole world twisted before me. Yeah, Michelle's no different. My attempts to get close to him, to always keep a smile on, it was all a waste. The look in his eyes was terrifying. Like he didn't believe in anything at all. So he probably wouldn't have believed me if I had told him the truth. He's so convinced I have an ulterior motive, there's probably no changing his mind. Such a cold rain. If I lie down here and go to sleep, I wonder if all the warmth will eventually drain from my body, and then I'll decompose and become part of the earth. You know, that might actually be nice. I like that. I've always thought I didn't want to die, that I wanted to go back to the way things were, but who cares anymore? I did my best after all, and that still got me nowhere. Cheerful Giselle was all just a farce. When I'm dead, all my worry for my mom and sister will fade away with me. Oh God, I doubt you have a place for me on high. I am, after all, an unclean woman, and I've given up on living altogether. But even if I can't get into heaven, that's okay. I want release. The rain pitter-pattered down through the leaves overhead, chilling my skin. The cold spread through my flesh and into my bones, my heart and lungs and stomach freezing me like a block of ice. My consciousness drifted away from me, and the world slipped through my fingers. More than fear, I felt relief. Utter black. At that, I was sure. was the end of and yet. Oh shit. That I was sure was the end of me.
Asked, laying it all out before her once more. But I must get her back to who, even if that means forcing her.
Woof.
She must remember everything. So, why did she become the maid, and what secrets does the house hold?
You're Michelle.
Yes, name is Michelle. I am not the white-haired girl. The person you were searching for was the man who once hurt you.
No, that's not quite right, is it? Why?
What was her why referring to? Hurt her? Why am I here? Or perhaps why I didn't show up. Not having an answer for her, I clenched her cold hands in mine. I wonder, her hands this that night. There's still more we need to see. Still too soon for me. When she's gotten everything back, only then, once she reclaimed herself as I have, that is what I tell her. Now, turn to our past. But our story had only just begun. No matter what we went through or what we desired, no matter what we lost or how much pain we suffered, must not shut this perfect darkness. I can see nothing. Shall not let go of her. I do not want her. I do not want to. Stay with me. Oh,
Yeah.
are you all right?
Yeah.
Oh, thank goodness you're awake. How's your head? Can you see me?
What?
You had me scared silly there. I thought I might have lost you for good. I'm really glad you're alive.
Where am I? And who is this man? What was I doing?
Filling up for any food. I can whip us up some porridge if you for you right quick.
I was back in the forest. It was raining. Before that, I was at the mansion. I feel sick. Like there's still something in my stomach. No, thank you. I don't want anything.
You really should have something. You need to keep up your energy. Unless you want to conk out again in an hour.
Sounds good to me. I'd rather not never wake up at all.
You're not in the highest of spirits either, it seems. All the more reason to get something warm in you. Please, have something. I've got some milk on the fire. Bet you can handle a cup of that. You start losing all hope once the cold gets that deep in you, reaches down to your core. Take me at my word, please. Just one sip. You'll feel like a whole new gal.
Gal. A heart-wrenchingly pleasant aroma wafted up with the steam from within the wooden cup. Succumbing to the sweet smell, I lifted the cup to my lips for just one sip. And the warmth spread through my body, and the warmth that spread through me brought tears to my eyes. Perhaps there really was kindness in the world. A ripple spread across the surface of the milk. I heard a gentle sigh come from the man beside me. After which he said with a smile, "You should take it easy for the day." I lost the willpower to think about anything. I didn't care what happened to me or why I was here, who he was, or even where this was. Spent the whole day in bed. just watching the sun slowly slide across the wooden floor. Felt like I was somewhere far, far away. At times, I felt like a lost child, and at times, like a sickly old woman on her deathbed. Watching the sun travel gave me a renewed awareness of the passage of time, and the fact that each moment that went by was another moment I was alive. I realized then that it had been a while since I had gotten more than a brief glimpse at any sunlight. That'll get you sad. It almost surprised me how colorful the world seemed beneath the sun's light. By sad, I mean like seasonal effect of the sun.
Right.
Like, something I didn't get much of inside the dark mansion. Only after losing something do you realize how much you need it, like vitamin D, warm milk, the lights shining through the window, and a bed that smelled like springtime. With those three things, my heart slowly began to defrost, and I started to regain the willpower to stand on my own 2 feet. Thank you for everything.
You sure you're in any shape to be on your feet?
Yes, I am fine. I'm not hurt.
Looks pretty beat up to me. But you look a lot better now. And you're talking a lot more clearly than before.
You've been very generous despite never having met me before, and for that you have my deepest gratitude. Without your help, I would no longer be in this world.
I don't deserve your thanks. You are alive now because God's guidance made it so.
God.
Came across you early this morning, heading up into the forest to hunt. Imagine my surprise seeing a young lady like you on the ground in my path. What were you doing in the forest?
Not much.
Ah, you don't have to tell me if you'd rather not. Everyone's got their own share of personal shit.
You're not going to demand I talk?
I've got no reason to force you to do anything, you little lady. You look like you've been to hell and back.
What?
I can tell just by looking at you. Now then, where you can go?
Somewhere to go? Of course I don't. I can't go back to the capital or the mansion.
If not, then why don't you just stay here?
Here?
Sure. Small village. We're self-sufficient. We all help each other out. No tax-hungry lords know we built a place up either. Keep everything we make. We're pretty remote as a result, and the harvest isn't fantastic, but I'm sure you'll find it comfortable here. The rest of the villagers will be glad to have you. What do you say?
I to do might make the rest of the family's lives more difficult, but I don't want to have to feel any more pain. If I really wouldn't be inconveniencing you, if it's really okay, then yes, I would like to stay here.
That's great to hear. I was loath to send you back out there in your current condition. I haven't introduced myself yet, have I? The name's Amadi. Meaty?
Huh. I
Mayday?
don't know, somewhere in there.
Amadi. Just one lowly villager of many.
I'm Giselle.
Giselle. That's a beautiful name. But not mistaken, there should be a vacant house here. Clean it up. Call it home.
I couldn't possibly ask for that. I doubt others would like it if I just took a house for myself.
That shouldn't be an issue. I'm the village's representative.
Representative? Like the chief?
Oh, only a name, though. As I mentioned, we're not on any lord's maps, so I don't have much representing to do. The only reason I ended up in charge is because I'm a bit more educated than anyone else. A long time ago, but I understudied with a priest. Because of that, I'm familiar with the Bible's teaching. Oh, rather than a chief, the people of the village look at me more like a priest. Wouldn't be much fun if the church found out about that, though. So don't go telling anybody. They're liable to think I'm acting unordained.
Just call yourself like a deacon or something. I think you can get away with it. Then you believe in God?
That's quite the question you're asking there. Of course God exists. He's always watching over us. That's why you survived, because he protected you. I understand that your faith can waver when you're going through times of tribulation, but those are the times when it's most important you keep sight on who you are. Wouldn't it be funny if this was just this whole game was an underlying Christian theme?
Yep. Like suddenly, by the way, at the end, have you heard the good news? Seek out your local church today, or something. I don't know. That'd be great. Slate at the end.
Oh
Would not
man.
have seen it coming. The twist to end all twists.
I don't think I would have recommended we do it if we did.
Right.
That's the case.
I mean, yeah, that's maybe a bit anticlimactic, I would say. Like
Now,
I've had that one pulled on me before.
now you get some rest. Tomorrow I'll show you around the village.
Thank you. I truly mean it. I really sincerely appreciate everything.
Don't mention it, Giselle. This is your village now too, so you don't need to act like a stranger anymore.
Oh, okay. Samidi seems like a nice man. Maybe here I can live in peace. Be all right, I'm sure. Yeah. I wasn't silly enough to believe my life would be perfect, but I had found a tiny fragment of my lost hope. While I had been ready to give up on absolutely everything, I started to feel like I might be able to smile again eventually, like I might be able to get back on my feet. And in order to do that, I had cast aside my past once more. Forget everything that had happened at the Bollinger estate and everything that had happened at the mansion. Forget about Michelle. There was one curiosity, though, that I couldn't shake. That word's fine. I don't trust myself saying
Yeah,
it
gotcha.
properly. I couldn't shake something that he had said before I left. At least as far as I'm aware, that's fine. I don't know, I guess.
Very existence. Tear down that the cursed youngest son of the Bollinger. Hell, who made a pact with the devil, who is supposed to be dead, but is very much alive.
What had he meant by that? Why would people think he was dead? No, I don't care about Michelle one bit. Forget it. Forget everything.
I was alone again. Giselle's shadow, which had been lurking in this hall for about a month, nowhere to be found. She hadn't come back since her efforts had, in the end, been for back to the way things were. Telling me that
The back of my chest. It's like a really interesting way to say in your heart.
yeah,
Please, hear me out. I don't know anything about you. I didn't know anything about you. I wasn't sniffing around or trying to bring you harm in any way.
that screaming. She looked genuinely terrified. I wasn't threatening her with a knife or something. Not falling. I feel like I know that friend doesn't add up. Silence, please. Couldn't witches whispering. Archangel. The Archangel looking down upon me seemed to be cackling. So, forever, whatever it was worth. So, whatever it was worth, to escape from his. from.
Yeah, it was a shorter interlude.
Oh, it's someone new. What?
You want to hold here? Do you think that this is going to be a short enough interlude that it's worth riding it out
Oh, hold here if you want. Exactly
I'm
sure.
running out of gas probably,
Yeah, yeah,
so
yeah.
if it's not a terrible imposition, I could probably do that.
Hold here. Yeah, that's a good spot.
Nice.
Oh,
Yeah, that
oh,
is interesting.
it is an
I
interesting recounting or like seeing the difference in the fabricated story.
well, and like the differences, but also the similarity, like the or at least the commonalities, maybe not similarities exactly. Like this, there's not anything that's exactly the same, but there's stuff that's like threads of a same but different going
Yeah,
through them. So I don't know. Yeah, it's gonna be curious to see, how we all, what side of the story we have heard, what, permutation of what elements of the story we've already heard, I
especially
guess.
the ending because of
Yeah.
how the fabricated story. Basically, like the whole village
Right.
or a whole group of
Yeah.
villagers coming and tearing down the.
Yeah. It's like a lot happening there. So I don't know what all it amounts to, but I assume it's just that they are like, related and or something. And so when it's found out that they're together, that's unacceptable, or that's like and it's another metaphor thing. But I don't know. I don't know. I'm curious to see what happens.
Oh, we are slowly but surely getting to the truth. I will be very interested to see reaction.
Yeah. Me too.
But for now, so if you want to get in on, we stream it day 2 Thursday. So we also have a Discord. Patreon support.
Hmm.
But you don't have to. Being here and hanging out. Appreciate it. That running out of steam. Call it here.
Boy.